Warm greetings, everyone. It's an honor to speak to you today on my reflections of COP26. Now, this is the first time that I have ever attended a UN climate change conference, and I am fortunate enough to live in Glasgow and was able to attend through my work for Religions for Peace. COP26, as you know, is the United Nations 26th Climate Change Conference, and a lot of people don't know what COP stands for. And COP stands for Conference of Parties. That's all the different delegations and the governments who come from around the world. COP is understood as the most important COP meeting in a long time. Now, the reason why, it's because COP26 took place after the conclusion of the first 5-year cycle, which was outlined in the Paris Accord in 2015, where countries signed up for the first time to submit progress reports on the so-called nationally determined contributions, or the NDCs, that they committed to, and more importantly, to the ambitions for the next cycle ahead. So that means in COP26, they were supposed to let us know how they had fared and what progress that they had made. But luckily at this COP, instead of doing it every 5 years, they're going to give us a yearly progress report. Now, we in Glasgow, all the faith communities and religious leaders had been working for a good few months, well before COP started. And in fact, COP started for us on the Friday when the first pilgrims arrived in Glasgow from around the world. And some had started in August, and they came from Germany, Holland, Poland, Sweden, and the UK, and from around Scotland as well. And the Sikh community, in true interfaith fashion, they welcomed all the pilgrims from different parts of the world. And we shared langar with them, which is a free community meal given at any Gurdwara, the Sikh place of worship around the world. And before things got going at COP26, Interfaith Scotland, Interfaith Glasgow, and the faith communities, we held a prayer vigil in the main square in Glasgow, and senior religious leaders read the Glasgow Multi-Faith Declaration that they had been working on for quite a few months beforehand. And 50 religious leaders from Scotland and the UK signed the Glasgow Multi-Faith Declaration, which calls for those in power to put the 2015 Paris Agreement into effect. And these are some of the pictures from the prayer vigil, and it was very well attended by people of faith and the public from in and around Glasgow and from around the world as well. After the event, we all gathered at Garnet Hill Synagogue, where the UNFCCC Interfaith Liaison Committee had organized a Talanoa dialogue. And we had an interfaith service there, but also the opportunity during the dialogue to share experiences and to look at how we can support each other in the continued efforts to mitigate the climate crisis. And over 200 people attended the event, which was online and also on site as well. So at last, at COP26, it was very, very exciting to go through the security and into the myriad of buildings, and expectations were high of all the delegates. Things needed to change so that humanity could survive on planet Earth. Thousands of people came together, world leaders, scientists, politicians, delegations from different countries, people of faith, indigenous people, all having a common goal to stop global temperatures rising and to protect the planet. And here we are in the main venue, and it started off with David Attenborough and Prince Charles speaking. And these are just a few of the photographs taken at the main venue. The World Leaders Summit, well, it started off well. We had a pledge right from the beginning from 130 countries to end deforestation by 2030. But the crucial part of eradicating the use of fossil fuels was not achieved. They said that they would use less fossil fuels, but not to get rid of them completely. But the Barbados Prime Minister, she spoke out for the islands that are facing catastrophe. She said, and I found this very, very powerful, how can 1/3 of the world not do anything when 2/3 of the world is facing catastrophe? Now, I found that there was the hydro was the action hub. If any of you know Glasgow, it's a great big round building there. And, with this planet Earth high above the arena, it was a hive of activity where people connected, networked, and could have their voice heard globally through the media that lined the perimeter of the hub. I had the opportunity on the 3rd of November to speak at an event organized by Religions for Peace International, Making Peace with Nature, Heeding the Call of Indigenous People. And I heard the plight of Indigenous people and of the continued support by the Norway government for the Interfaith Forest Initiative and the other speakers from the Anglican Church and other churches from around the world of what we should all be doing to help the climate crisis. I spoke on the impact of climate change on women and was honored to publicize for the first time in the history of UN climate change conferences a statement by women of faith globally to denounce the destruction of the environment, and also that it impacts women and the poor most. The statement was produced by Religions for Peace International Women's Coordinating Committee, which comprises of women of faith networks representing many regions and faith traditions in over 90 countries. I was also personally able to hand the statement, Women of Faith statement, to Prince Charles, and I asked him to hand it to the Queen, who is also a woman of faith. So it was my job to try and get the statement out as widely as possible, and I was able to hand it to the First Minister, Nicola Sturgeon, and in an interview on Sky News on Gender Day, I was able to publicize it more through Sky. But, what I found was that there shouldn't be a need for a day to be dedicated to gender or youth, as the needs of youth and women should permeate every policy and decision made by those in power. So we have to make sure that we educate the young right from the beginning, who are going to be leaders of future generations, that they need to consider the needs of everyone, including women and youth. Now, what I found really inspiring about COP26 was the ability to network and to find solutions with other organizations throughout the world. For example, it was really heartening to see that businesses, governments, and scientists, they were all working together to find solutions that can help the climate crisis. I was able to work with the Abibiman Foundation from Ghana, and we are able to take forward the Sacred Forest Initiative in Ghana. And that is an initiative which actually sort of is able to have forest growth within 2 years and not within the 10 years span that we have normally when we plant trees. So now the question is how quickly can meaningful action be taken to protect the planet and in turn the whole of humanity before it is too late for islands like Tuvalu that are sinking now. So we all need to come together now afterwards to see how we can stop this, because your voice, our voice, all of our voices need to keep on advocating, keep on speaking to governments to ask them, how far have you got? What progress have you made? And it's the people who are going to be the change, who are going to help this climate crisis. And you are the ones to do it. Thank you.